There is a reason why some of the most enlightened beings in human history sought solitude. From mystics meditating in caves to monks retreating into silence for decades, they all understood something most of us overlook: being alone isn't just a state of existence, it's a portal. A portal to unlocking powers within you that you didn't even know were there. But here's the twist: it's not just ancient sages who can access these superpowers. You can too. Let's start with this: how often are you truly alone? Not scrolling through your phone, not watching videos on a screen, but really alone, just you, your thoughts, and the silence. For most people, solitude feels uncomfortable, even unbearable. Why? Because when you're alone, there's no one else to distract you from yourself. And that's the key. Solitude forces you to confront the vast, uncharted territory within your mind. It's in this confrontation that the first superpower begins to awaken: radical self-awareness. When you spend extended time alone, you start to see yourself clearly. The masks you wear for others, the roles you play, the stories you tell yourself begin to crumble. You begin to notice the patterns in your thoughts, the beliefs you've been carrying, and the emotions you've been avoiding. It's like turning on a flashlight in a dark room. At first, what you see might scare you. You might realize how much fear, anger, or sadness you've been suppressing. But here's the thing: you can't truly heal what you're not aware of. This is why solitude is such a powerful teacher. It doesn't lie to you.
Click subscribe to this channel to get more profound spiritual lessons.
It doesn't sugarcoat things. It shows you the truth, even when it's uncomfortable. And the more you sit with that truth, the more you begin to understand yourself on a level that most people never will. But here's the question: are you brave enough to face yourself? Are you willing to sit in the silence and listen to what your soul is trying to tell you? Most people aren't. Most people run from solitude because they're afraid of what they'll find. But those who embrace it gain a level of clarity and self-awareness that is almost superhuman. As this awareness grows, it leads to the second superpower: emotional alchemy. When you're constantly surrounded by people, noise, and distractions, it's easy to avoid your emotions. But when you're alone, there's nowhere to hide. The anger, the sadness, the anxiety, they all rise to the surface. At first, this can feel overwhelming. But here's the secret: emotions are just energy. They're not who you are. And when you give yourself the space to feel them fully, without judgment, something magical happens. That anger you've been carrying, it transforms into passion. That sadness, it becomes compassion. That anxiety, it turns into excitement for the unknown. This is emotional alchemy: the ability to take the raw, messy energy of your emotions and transmute it into something beautiful. Think about it: how many people do you know who are ruled by their emotions? They let anger control their actions, or they suppress sadness until it turns into bitterness. But when you master emotional alchemy, you become the one in control. Your emotions no longer dictate your life. Instead, they become tools for your growth. Now, let me ask you this: when was the last time you let yourself feel something without trying to fix it, distract yourself from it, or push it away? When was the last time you sat with your sadness, your fear, or your anger and simply allowed it to be? This is the kind of courage that solitude demands. But it's also the kind of courage that transforms you. As your emotional mastery deepens, you'll start to notice something else: your intuition becomes sharper. This brings us to the third superpower: heightened intuition. When you're constantly surrounded by noise, both external and internal, it's hard to hear the whispers of your intuition. But in the stillness of solitude, those whispers become a roar. You start to notice things you never noticed before. You might get a sudden gut feeling about a decision, and when you follow it, everything falls into place. You might feel a pull toward a certain person, place, or opportunity, and it turns out to be exactly what you needed. This isn't magic, it's your natural intuition, the inner compass that most people have forgotten how to use. The problem is, intuition speaks in silence, and most of us are too busy to hear it. But when you spend time alone, you create the space for your intuition to come online. Here's a deep question for you: how much of your life is guided by your intuition, and how much is guided by fear, logic, or the expectations of others? Most of us have been taught to ignore our intuition, to dismiss it as irrational or unreliable. But the truth is, your intuition is one of the most reliable guides you have. The more you trust it, the stronger it becomes. And the stronger it becomes, the more effortlessly you can navigate life. But this is just the beginning. The deeper you go into solitude, the more profound the transformations become. When you spend enough time alone, something extraordinary begins to happen. Your mind, which is usually cluttered with the thoughts, opinions, and energies of others, starts to quiet down. And in that quiet, you discover a vast, untapped reservoir of creativity, insight, and wisdom. This is the fourth superpower: unlimited mental clarity and creativity. Most people never experience true mental clarity because their minds are constantly overstimulated. They jump from one distraction to the next, never giving themselves the space to think deeply or creatively. But when you remove the noise and allow your mind to settle, it's like clearing a foggy windshield. Suddenly you can see clearly. You might find that ideas start to flow effortlessly, as though they're coming from somewhere beyond you. Problems that once seemed unsolvable suddenly have obvious solutions. You might even have moments of insight so profound that they feel like downloads from the universe itself. This is the power of solitude. It connects you to the infinite intelligence that exists within and around you. But here's the catch: to unlock this level of clarity and creativity, you have to be willing to sit with the discomfort of an empty mind. Most of us are addicted to thinking. Even when we're alone, we fill the silence with mental chatter. But true clarity comes when you let go of that chatter and allow your mind to rest. Can you do that? Can you sit in the stillness without trying to fill it with thoughts, plans, or distractions? If you can, you'll tap into a level of creativity that most people can only dream of. As your mind becomes clearer, you'll also notice an incredible shift in your energy. This brings us to the fifth and final superpower: energetic mastery. When you're constantly surrounded by people, your energy is constantly being influenced by theirs. You pick up on their emotions, their thoughts, their fears, and their expectations, often without even realizing it. But when you're alone, you have the opportunity to reclaim your energy. You can tune into your own frequency and learn how to manage it with precision. Energetic mastery means you're no longer at the mercy of external circumstances. You don't get drained by toxic environments or negative people because you've learned how to protect and replenish your energy. You don't let stress or anxiety take over because you've learned how to ground yourself in the present moment. But here's the ultimate question: how often do you take the time to check in with your energy? How often do you ask yourself, what am I feeling right now? Is this energy even mine? Most of us are so disconnected from our energy that we live in a constant state of overwhelm. But when you cultivate energetic mastery, you become unshakable. This is the gift of solitude. It's not just about being alone, it's about discovering who you are beyond the noise, the roles, and the expectations. It's about unlocking the superpowers that have been within you all along. When you spend enough time alone, something profound starts to shift within you. You realize that solitude isn't just a practice, it's a path to becoming a spiritual warrior. This doesn't mean you're fighting battles in the traditional sense. It means you've developed the strength, wisdom, and resilience to face life's challenges with grace and clarity. You've become someone who doesn't just survive but thrives, no matter what the external world throws at you. And here's the paradox: solitude doesn't make you isolated. It makes you more connected to yourself, to others, and to the universe. Why? Because when you master your inner world, the outer world becomes a reflection of that mastery. This is the ultimate transformation that solitude offers. Now, let's talk about what it really means to be a spiritual warrior. A spiritual warrior is someone who has the courage to face their own shadow. They don't run from their fears, insecurities, or pain. Instead, they confront them head-on, knowing that every challenge is an opportunity for growth. And this is where solitude becomes your greatest ally. When you're alone, there's no one to blame for your struggles, no one to distract you from your pain. You're forced to take full responsibility for your life. This might sound harsh, but it's actually liberating. Because when you take responsibility, you also reclaim your power. You realize that you are not a victim of your circumstances, you are the creator of your reality. But here's the question: are you willing to take that responsibility? Are you willing to stop blaming the outside world for your problems and instead look within to find the solutions? Most people aren't. It's easier to point fingers, to make excuses, to stay stuck in the same patterns. But a spiritual warrior knows that true freedom comes from within. This brings us to one of the most profound lessons of solitude: self-reliance. When you spend time alone, you learn how to rely on yourself not just for survival, but for happiness, fulfillment, and purpose. You stop looking to others to validate you, to complete you, or to save you. You realize that everything you've been searching for has been within you all along. Think about it: how often do we give away our power by depending on others for our sense of worth? How often do we let someone else's opinion dictate how we feel about ourselves? Solitude teaches you that you don't need anyone else's approval to feel whole. You are already complete, just as you are. But self-reliance doesn't mean shutting people out or refusing help. It means knowing that, at the end of the day, you are enough. It means trusting yourself, even when the world doubts you. And it means standing strong in your truth, even when it's uncomfortable. As you cultivate this inner strength, something incredible begins to happen. You stop fearing loneliness. You stop clinging to relationships that no longer serve you. You stop settling for a life that doesn't align with your highest self. Instead, you start to attract people and experiences that resonate with your newfound energy. You become a magnet for abundance, love, and joy, not because you need them to feel complete, but because you are already complete. Here's a question to reflect on: what would your life look like if you fully embraced your own worth? If you stopped seeking validation from others and started living from a place of inner alignment? Another gift of solitude is unshakable inner peace. In a world that is constantly moving, constantly demanding, constantly pulling you in a million different directions, inner peace is a superpower. And the only way to cultivate it is by going within. When you spend time alone, you learn how to quiet your mind, to find stillness in the chaos. You realize that peace isn't something you find outside of yourself, it's something you create within. This doesn't mean life becomes perfect or free of challenges. It means you develop the ability to remain calm and centered, no matter what's happening around you. Imagine this for a moment. A storm is raging outside, but inside you are still. The winds howl, the rain pours, but you remain unshaken. This is the power of inner peace. It's not about avoiding the storm. It's about learning how to stand in the middle of it without losing yourself. But let me ask you this: how often do you prioritize your inner peace? How often do you take the time to disconnect from the noise of the world and reconnect with yourself? Most of us are so busy chasing external goals that we forget to nurture our inner world. But solitude reminds us that the most important work we can do is within. As your inner peace deepens, you'll start to experience another incredible transformation, a profound connection to the divine. This is not something that can be explained with words, it's something you feel deep in your soul. It's the realization that you are not separate from the universe, you are the universe, expressing itself in human form. When you spend time alone, you create the space for this connection to deepen. You might feel it in moments of stillness, when the boundaries between you and the world dissolve. You might feel it in nature, when you sense the aliveness of everything around you. You might feel it in meditation, when you touch the infinite within yourself. This connection to the divine is the ultimate superpower. It's what allows you to navigate life with trust, knowing that you are always supported. It's what gives you the courage to follow your intuition, even when it doesn't make logical sense. And it's what fills your life with meaning, even in the face of uncertainty. But here's the final question: are you willing to surrender to this connection? Are you willing to let go of the need to control and instead trust in the flow of life? Most people cling to control because they're afraid of the unknown. But a spiritual warrior knows that the unknown is where the magic happens. It's where you discover who you truly are and what you're truly capable of. Solitude is not just a practice, it's a portal to your highest self. It's a path that leads you to the deepest truths, the greatest powers, and the most profound connection to the universe. And the best part, it's a path that's always available to you. All you have to do is step into the silence and listen. So the next time you find yourself alone, don't see it as a punishment or a problem. See it as an opportunity. An opportunity to unlock the superpowers that have been within you all along. An opportunity to become the spiritual warrior you were born to be. Thank you for walking this path with me. If this message resonated with you, take it with you. Share it, reflect on it, and most importantly, practice it. Because the world doesn't just need more people, it needs more awakened souls. And that journey begins with you.